Drew, and I'm going to help you connect NoteCove to Claude Desktop and show you some of the things that you can do with it. Well, first, we're going to start by let's launch NoteCove to begin with. Um, First, we need to do is create a profile. We're going to call it a demo because that's what this is. You have a couple of different choices of profiles. Um, for a lot of you, it's just local. It's not going to leave the machine. That's fine. Um, if cloud, in the case where you want to store your storage stuff in like iCloud, Google Drive, Dropbox, one of those kind of things. There's paranoid mode, which is the case where like you want to use this and you don't want any outbound network connections because you care about that sort of thing, like for like link unfurls and a couple of other things that it shows up in. And then there's custom, which usually this is the case where you've got existing storage directories and you just need to hook them up. For our case, we're doing local, keep things nice and simple. Tells us where it's going to store it. The profile ID will come to in a minute. And then it asks for an identity. This could be anything really. And if you're only using it like locally and just by yourself, you can just leave this blank, which is what we're going to do. But if you're working between multiple devices or multiple computers, say like if you have your work computer and your personal computer syncing over Google Drive or one of those, you might want to be able to tag as one or the other because that might be useful for you later. If you choose to leave it blank, you can always fix it later. So this isn't if I don't figure this out now, I'm screwed. The general principle of NoteCove is don't want you to have to premeditate too much and that things can change and it's fine. As opposed to things like Jira where you have to like premeditate what the board's going to be and what the fields are going to be. It's like you can add, change, remove, whatever. It's all fine. Okay, so we'll review and create and we'll launch this thing. Uh, get the splash screen as it loads and we get the did you know? Hey, did you know you can nest folders? Yay. Cool. So we've got the welcome doc. We've got the list here, the folder with the list folder thing. It's trying to auto update. We'll do that later. And you can have notes and tasks and folders. Comes with all folders recently deleted. There's projects you can make, which we'll get to in a bit. Smart folders kind of like save searches. You basically specify what it is you're looking for, and it creates a collection of just those things. And then there's tags like hashtags, because sometimes you just want to tag certain things and organize them that way. Hashtags are very useful when you're setting smart folders, but they're just generally useful for a bunch of things. Anyway, we're here to actually set up Claude Desktop in order to work with this. So the first thing we need to do is install the CLI. The CLI is used by the agent to go do different things. It's where the MCP itself actually lives, and so we need to install this so they can do it. I've got a bug right now which says that the local bin is not in the path. In fact, it actually is. We're going to install it. Already installed. Great. So we're good. So before the NoteCove CLI can actually talk to the app, we want to authenticate it because just in case like the agents start running it, we don't want it to be able to just do whatever. Like we want to kind of contain it when we want to do those sorts of things. So we first have to get the profile that we're going to connect to, the one that we just made. So we could do NoteCove profiles, and it will list the ones that we have. Another way to get that same ID is actually out through the About dialog. It will show you that it's the same one. In the event that you have more than one NoteCove running and you need to figure out which one it is, you can do it that way. So the way that we get the CLI kind of authenticated with the app is we do through the NoteCove init. We give it the profile we're going to be connecting to, and copy that. And then when you specify the init, you can specify like, only these folders, only these projects, notes only, tasks only. You can specify, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. For the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to give it access to all tasks and all notes. We're also going to specify the global flag here, just keep things a little bit simpler. By default, NoteCove will drop a .notecove file in the current working directory. So if you're in a source tree, anything that's executing NoteCove commands in a directory below that, it will kind of walk its way up the path to go find it. In this case, for global, you could set that for just, it obviously applies to wherever, but, if there is a NoteCove file in the way, that will take precedence over the global one. So we'll do that. And we notice a little pop-up here, basically saying that the CLI is requesting access to all projects, all storage directories, folder restrictions none, the working directory of where it was invoked, just so this way you know where it was and you can approve or deny. In our case, we absolutely want to approve. So one of the first things I usually do after I do an init, just to make sure that everything's what I think it is we'll just do a NoteCove note list. just to make sure that yes, indeed, we do find what we're looking for. So yeah, the CLI is actually hooked up. Now, for if you're using something with like Claude Code, it can just invoke the CLI. You don't actually have to set up any MCP servers or anything like that. But for something like Claude Desktop, it does need this kind of configuration. So NoteCove MCP help. We can see what our options are here. Should you need one that requires TCP hosting, it can do that. By default, it just listens to standard in. And there's the print config, which tells you the JSON snippet that you need to stick in the configurations when you need to do these sorts of things. And if you supply the host port, it will give you the proper config for that. Otherwise, it'll configure it for standard in. We're just doing Claude Desktop installation. So this is actually like very, very simple for us. We just do package, and it outputs this NoteCove MCP.mcpp file. And even simpler yet, all we got to do is just open it, and it knows to open it up in Claude Desktop. Yes, we want to install it. It says installing will grant access to everything on your computer. That's just because it's not signed by Anthropic. Obviously, we just built it, so of course it's not going to be signed, but we know what this is, so it's fine. So we install it. Yes, we really want to install it. There are configurations that you can do. Like I said, when I was talking about the .NoteCove file and how it authenticates with the app itself, you can configure if you want to use a .NoteCove file someplace else. But for our purposes, it's configured for the global setting, so we're good to go. So now that we've ostensibly got this all to work, let's actually try to make it do something. Can you see the welcome note in NoteCove? If you can, create a new project named Demo and drop a ticket in there to revisit it with new things, and include a link to the welcome note so that we can find it, and then open the ticket so that we can see it. And it's going to think about stuff. And the way the MCP and the CLI is thought of, is it tries to do kind of like progressive exposition of how the thing works. So like you don't have to tell it how to make links. You don't have to tell it what the JSON formats are. It doesn't have to try to experiment because like there's agent instructions and things in there for it to kind of discover what these things are. And so in the case here, it's creating the demo project. We can actually see it that it's already there. Fabricating a web URL for the welcome note link. Not sure exactly what it's doing there. Oh, it's figuring it out. It will probably be doing, yeah, the wiki links. There we go. Going to create the ticket. And we should see the ticket. Oh, there's the ticket. And it's going to be doing some additional stuff here. And eventually the ticket detail should show up in a second here as it works through it. There we go. Perfect. So it created the ticket. Fantastic. We've got the link to the welcome note, even better. And we can click that link. But for right now, actually, I just want to show you that projects, they show up as a Kanban board. And they do the normal kinds of things. And like I said before, don't have to premeditate the whole thing. You can add states, remove states, change different types. Because if you look here, there's a type. There's 3 that kind of come for free when you set it up, but you can just add as many as you like. And there's different icons you can choose. And again, and if you decide you don't like one, you can always take it away. And, it's one of these things. You don't have to premeditate this. You can kind of just figure it out as you need to go. Anyway, so we've got that. One of the things I wanted to do here is, actually, let's click to the welcome note. Perfect. So we got that opened. And we can go to the end of the note here, and we'll make a ticket link to the demo, and here we go. And one of the things you'll notice is it live updates over here, but one of the other things we can do here is we can also just drag that between columns, and this also then turns blue and updates to live to that, and then we can drag it over to done, and sure enough, it turns green. So like all the kind of things, kind of live updates as things go, keeps things nice and simple. One of the things I really like about this is for like when I'm working with Claude Code and I'll have it output a plan with ticket links and the whole thing. And because of that, what happens is as you watch the tickets march across the board, as Claude Code is doing its thing, is you can watch the tickets go from gray to blue to green. And it becomes very easy at the end to say like, okay, did Claude actually do all the things that it was supposed to do in the plan? And so it makes it easy to call it out in the case that it's, deferred something because it decided it was too hard, it was unnecessary, it was optional, because sometimes Claude does that. Or sometimes it just forgets to update tickets and you can just ask it to update the tickets. But anyway, another feature that's also sometimes really useful, especially because like when you're in these just single windows, is viewing backlinks, because this can give you a hint as to where you came from, and then you can open that up and then it takes you back to where it is. And then similarly, you can do backlinks here. Did I hit it right? There we go. And then you can go back. So you can go back and forth, and it keeps things nice and simple. But anyway, this is one of a simple demonstration of working with Claude Code, Claude Desktop and the NoteCove app. And have a great time. It's really cool being able to like not lose things in the chat anymore as you're working through research. It's really easy to just file tickets for things that you're thinking of in the moment, and so you kind of don't have to break your stream of thought. You can say like file a ticket and let's work some more on this. And I'll cover more things that you can do with it in other videos. So anyway, happy note coding.